I think of AI as being this ultimate tool for generalists. So like all the people at Every are generalists, and we everyone pretty much writes. Many people build things. Everyone has some design sense. They're architects and bakers, and I studied philosophy in school. Like there's tons. There's everyone's got like this weird amalgamation of many things that's hard to define. And I think for all of us, having AI is so awesome because like that it means that we can dip into different areas of the world or of skill sets or of company building without necessarily having to be a specialist expert at it. And so we can control much more of the, like, for example, for a product, you can control the entire product experience with one person running it. And so to me, that the sort of like smaller organization size, scaling with fewer people, all that kind of stuff, it to your point, it's like you need to specialize when you need to divide labor because you're collaborating across a really, really like large and complex organization. But when you have a smaller organization, you can be more general. And I think AI lets you be more general for longer and get further as a generalist. So I kind of look at it that way. I'm curious how you think about it.
Yeah. And, I think I'm going to share a couple different perspectives here, and obviously I want to get your feedback. So, as I think about this, I think I have concern with generalists using AI and not being able to spot disinformation or something, a hallucination. And so I do worry sometimes, somewhat, and again, listen, I'm going to be fully biased here. I spent a lot of money and time in education and I became a specialist. So, I'm going to, call it the kettle black here. But the reality is, like, let's say, so my degree is in organizational behavior. I've spent a lot of time studying the history of business and how we got here and how humans and technology behave. I test AI on its knowledge, and we get really excited when we're building models that are about 80 to 85% accurate. And so it's, 15% of the time it's going to be off or it's not citing the right source. And I think what I worry about with AI is it's going to only perpetuate the dominant discourse of what has been and what the majority of people think for most of the cases, just based on the parameters and the way that these models are built. And so when I say, I'm a little bit on the opposite side where I think specialists are really important because you're going to be able to detect where AI as a generalist is wrong, and be able to make sure that we're still, thinking about novelty and the outlier, which AI may not be as good at. And oftentimes you can only see that as a specialist. Now, what I am going to say as a generalist, and I'll be curious how you're defining this, what we do see in our Upwork data that's growing almost as fast as our AI skill sets on our platform is what I'm calling learning how to learn skills. So I do think of generalists, and the example you provided is if your team is just learning how to learn and apply the domain knowledge in a different context, absolutely. I think learning how to learn is going to become a really critical skill set. And what we're seeing on our platform is personal coaching, training and development, career coaching are dramatically rising. I mean, it's 70% plus year over year. And we just haven't seen that sort of growth in that category on our platform before. And I think the reality is we all know we need a more agile, resilient workforce, individuals who are able to continue to navigate this. So I guess in some ways, I'm going to sum this up is maybe it's somewhat of a false dichotomy saying, well, should you be a specialist or generalist? I think my perspective is you need to be both. You need to be specialized enough to know that when you're working with AI to recognize when it's gone wrong and making sure you're still having that human intelligence. But yet you need to be a generalist if we're defining it as learning how to learn and being able to navigate different contexts today.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I do think it, to me, it is the ultimate learning tool, which is why I love it. Like I just love that I just get to spend all day because like a big part of my job is I'm a writer, so I just spend all day reading books and like sending pictures to ChatGPT and being like, what does this mean? And so I can read like way more technical books or philosophy books or history books or whatever that and get way more out of them than I would have ordinarily. I think on the like expert point, I want to challenge you a little bit there because I think like AI is not one thing, right? The way that you prompt it is going to be way different from the way that I prompt it, and the results you're going to get are going to be way different from the results I'm going to get. And as an expert, you're going to be able to get much better, like more nuanced results for your particular situation. And so I think that's incredibly valuable and not something that is like not something that's talked about enough. I think, and I think to your point about like, hallucinations and stuff, I do think that's 100% right. And I think when you think about managers, the best managers of people are usually people who have done the job that they're managing for that exact reason. And so I think that there's this like false view that, you know, using AI to do work means you push a button and it does it and you don't understand it. And you don't need to understand it at all. And I think you obviously do, but I do think it's like, I think just because it goes wrong, like if you're a smart, motivated person, you will like spend the time to fix it.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of tools to fix it. Like just because it hallucinates once, like there's lots of different models to use. There's lots of different ways to look up the results that you're getting, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a real problem, but I also don't think it's like, versus the alternative, which is like, I'm not going to be able to do the work at all, or I'm going to, you know, like I think there's lots of worse alternatives. And I think the trade-offs are worth it.